So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello. Still, you have network is coming. Okay. See, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
ma. See, we for the last almost 2 weeks we are in this institute. That is the reason there is a small problem in the terms of internet network. It seems to be something like that. Anyway, we will start. So anyway, welcome back to this online artificial intelligence classes. And we are in session 13 today. And today what is that we are going to discuss is a very simple topic. Like when you try to develop an application in artificial intelligence, what type of characteristics does this applications can have? Or if somebody wish to design an AI app or AI system, we need to think about what type of characteristics that a problem should have and can have actually. So what are the general characteristics this AI systems will have that we are going to discuss today? And if you remember last week when we have classes, we are discussing about a production system, and we also discussed about something called as a tic-tac-toe game. And this class is very important in the terms of how people wish to design a AI system. Like what is the end product of AI system, whether it is a state or a path. You wish to get the output as a class or the value. Like, see, I have the marks of all my students in the first year and second year. Can I predict the marks in the third year? Can somebody answer this?
Yes, sir.
See, I have the marks of my students in the first year and second year, even in 3-1. So, can I predict what type of marks they will get in 3-2?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, if you are predicting the exact marks, we are talking about values. If you are talking in the terms of grades, whether she will be in A grade or B grade or C grade, that is a class label actually. So you can talk something like 90 to 100 grade is A, some 60 to 90 the grade is B, and all other people the grade is C. So your A, B, C are called as class labels, where these labels are a set of values. Like, see, I see in intermediate one girl's percentage is 98. What is her percentage in BTech? If I say it is something like 78%, that is a value. But if I say she will be in the area of 90 to 100, that is a class. So once you design, see, please mute yourself. Please, you have to. See, parallelly, people are listening to many classes. Okay. This class is very simple. That's what I said. It's only talks about when somebody wish to develop an AI system, what type of characteristics that a problem will have. That is the only thing. Then we'll see the slides. Similarly, this is what my structure is like, what we have done in the last class for 2 or 3 minutes. Then we get into this part, like what are the characteristics of problems, how these problems are classified, what are the things that we need to keep when we are talking about this problem characteristics and all other things. So, last class we are talking about a water jug problem. My intention of taking that water jug problem is to introduce a system called as production system. A production system is a system which works based on some rules. That rules is called as knowledge. See, I have a database. Directly the database cannot be called as a knowledge. When you process this database, I will get some knowledge, and that knowledge will tell me where can I apply and where cannot apply this type of rules. So last class we are talking about a production system. I said many different types of AI systems are there. If you find the applications of production systems, if you type production systems and applications of AI, the first thing you will get is robotics. Wherever you wish to develop or design a robot and you wish to represent the robot in the terms of actions. See, how do you design a robot to perform some actions? What are the legal actions? What are the actions that it should not have? So all this has to be developed when you wish to design a robot that people will do in the terms of computer science and mechanical. See, I wish to design a robot to move an object from one place to other place. What are its legal actions? And if it is moving, what is the prerequisite for every action to be performed? And you need to also write what type of actions, because the robot will operate in real structure. So obviously you need to also tell when can a robot disable its operations. So all this we can design, or we can give description in the terms of your rules. That rules people call it as productions, and we have n number of applications of production systems, whether it is robotics or people now trying to design something called as RPA with respect to the chatbots. So wherever it is, my intention is whenever you learn some concept, you need to also understand what are the basic applications of that concepts, which is very important. So we'll go to the next slide. So if somebody wish to represent a problem in the terms of production system, what is the procedure that they have to adopt? Or in general, what can be the components of production system? Can somebody unmute yourself and answer this query?
State space representation,
Yes. Then?
analysis,
Yes.
productions or rules,
Productions. Yes.
control strategy.
Yes. All these four are very important. But if somebody asks me what is the procedure to represent a problem in production system, the same thing will be explained, but you start with how you identify the starting state, you identify the goal state, represent the problem in the terms of state space, because state space is very important component of your AI system. Where does your algorithm will operate is very important. So state space is how you define x and y values, what can be the maximum value, what can be the minimum value, what type of values x can hold, what type of values y can hold. So on that we have discussed. And then most important thing is you need to identify a possible solution, we call it as analysis part. Then you try to write productions. And when you have the productions, we call the productions or rules as a knowledge because it is processed version of your facts. So once all this goal, starting state, productions, and your analysis and even design was ready, then you can execute the program by using any control strategy. It can be BFS or DFS or A star or AO star or alpha beta pruning or min max algorithm or branch and bound itself is an algorithm, hill climbing, or any other algorithm you can apply and just move from one state to other state. This is what we have seen in the last class. This class is a very simple class where we talk about the problem characteristics. Can the problem can be decomposed into subtasks or not? It is the first statement that we will see. So this is very important. When you try to design a system or when you try to understand about the requirements of particular end user, you ask many questions and he will tell many requirements. So then once your requirements are clear, you will go for analysis part in general that you know in software engineering that we do. So once you do the analysis part, then you need to find out what are dependent tasks, what are independent tasks. When independent tasks are more, then what can we do is we can start uh, implementing the things parallelly. Still some disturbance is there somewhere. So when the tasks are independent, or if you will be able to make the tasks independent, then you can apply your very prominent algorithm called as random forest, but that does not have any significance in the class. My intention is when you have a bigger task, you can decompose the task into subtasks. When you talk about subtask, whether this subtasks itself are dependent or independent like this. See, you can only solve A when B is getting solved and C is getting solved. When you say that it is a tree. Still, if you wish to divide this task, that is a better thing that we call it as a modularity. So when somebody wish to have an A application to be developed, then the first thing they do is the entire project, how many modules you can we can decompose, and how many modules are dependent, how many modules are independent, so that independent modules can be developed by so many. See, if I say C is an independent module, or some I will say something like this. F is there, F is an independent module, so F can be developed parallelly, or I have something like this, M is there. So M can be developed parallelly, but D cannot be. See, if you wish to complete this D part, or what is that? This is B. If I say, if B has to be completed, D has to be completed, and E has to be completed. If C has to be completed, F has to be completed. All these are dependent, but M is an independent task that can be done independently. So the design says when you have a bigger problem, divide the problem into subtasks and see that this subtask, whatever you have divided, most of them can be independent. So if it is independent, you can apply parallel algorithms and straight away you can have a different strategy. You can get the output faster. This is what the first statement says. Can you decompose the problem into subtasks? Can it be if it is decomposable, it is better to have more number of independent tasks. Then you can apply these parallel algorithms and get the output faster. The second statement says, can solution steps be recoverable or undone? Or can these steps is recoverable or unrecoverable? Do you know 8 puzzle problem? See, 8 puzzle problem will be like this. This is an 8 puzzle problem. And this is your current state. and I can say that this is your final state or goal state. So how many people will play this 8 puzzle problem? Can somebody unmute and answer?
No, sir, we don't know.
Okay. So you know the tic-tac-toe game is played by 2 persons, is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, even chess
Yes,
game
sir.
also. Is it right? See,
Yes, sir.
two players are playing the chess game, and if one player has moved, uh, either it is a soldier or something, he has moved the soldier to some place. Can you go back to the earlier state after the opponent has played? Is it possible to go back to the earlier state?
No, sir.
No, that is called as irrecoverable actions or undone. Some games like chess game, even two-player games, all two-player games, once you make a move, obviously the other player will start playing. So obviously you cannot go to the earlier state. So this is called as irrecoverable action or undone. Some actions or solution steps cannot be undone. Some can be recoverable. Since 8 puzzle problem is a problem that is played by you, a single person. So obviously, if I am moving from one state to the state, if it is not able to get the goal state, I can go back to the earlier state. 8 puzzle problem in general will be played by a single person. So while you are moving from one state to other state, obviously, if there is a chance that you felt that you are not getting the goal, you can go back. So the intention of this second rule is, when you are designing a strategy of AI, what is that you need to think is, see, in water jug problem is recoverable or irrecoverable? In water jug problem, you have a state called as 3-3 and you are getting a state called as 4-2. Can you go back to the earlier state?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so it is recoverable. So if see, I am moving from one state to other state, if I am getting the earlier state, I can say it is a recoverable state. But from 4-2, if you are not able to get this 3-3, you can say it is a irrecoverable state. So irrecoverable means once you made some action, that action cannot be recoverable. So obviously that type of actions will be played when you play two-player games, whether it is a NIM game or a tic-tac-toe game or a chess game. Once you make a move, you cannot go back to the earlier state. But when somebody plays something like a single player games, I say it can be recoverable because you are only playing the game, so you can see whether you are reaching the goal state or not based on this action, so you can go back. Even when you implement this robots, we call it as robotics. In robotics also, some actions can be recoverable, some actions cannot be recoverable. So it depends upon depends upon the application. It depends upon the description that you get from your end user. So the second step is important when you are playing a game. Apart from that, the second step is very important when you are applying something called as robotics, because some steps in robotics, when you define the robot actions, that can be recoverable, some actions cannot be recoverable. Because every time when you talk about robotics in the terms of developing productions will also have some action part. Like you see it in your million more machines, you will have some output for every state. The same way, the production system you see in the third unit is different. You have some rules, you have some actions. For every actions also, there is some output that is associated with each rule. So that will come, but as far as this class is concerned, when you design some applications, you need to think about whether the actions are recoverable or unrecoverable, and then we'll proceed. So the most important problem characteristics, like we have 7 problem characteristics. Whether the universe is predictable is the most important problem characteristic of your AA system. Whether the universe is predictable is the most important characteristic. But if you wish to understand this characteristic, I need to show you other PowerPoint that will be good for you. I think I'll open that. See, this is the PowerPoint that I have used in the last class, if you remember. See, you are moving from 03 to 30. Again, you are moving from 30 to 33. You are moving from 33 to 42. While you are moving from one state to other state, is the universe is predictable? Means when you move from one state to other state, is there any guarantee that you get the goal state? Is called as universe. How does the algorithm knows when you apply a rule that new state will fetch this goal state or not? Is the universe is blind or it is predictable? Blind means you go for a blind search. There is no guarantee that you will get the output. When you apply DFS, sometimes you will not get the output, but when you get BFS, there is every chance that you will get the output. Or indirectly, when you apply a BFS algorithm, you get the solution. But sometimes in DFS, depth first search, there is every chance that you will not get a solution for the problem. The same way, two things are there. When you are moving from one state to other state, is the universe is predictable? The meaning is there any guarantee that you reach the final state or not? That is what the universe is. Universe is the way in which you move from one state to other state. Does it guarantee that you will reach the final state or not? So that is the most important component as far as the design of AI systems is concerned. So the universe is predictable means the meaning is when you are moving from one state to other state, whether you are moving in the terms of a heuristic or are you moving blindly? So when you move blindly, exploring all the paths, there is a chance that you get a solution, but you will get it at a later date and later time. So when people talk about universe is predictable or not, indirectly they are talking about what type of winning strategy that was augmented by your heuristic you are employing actually. So when people talk about universe is predictable or not, the simple way to explain is when you are moving from one state to other state, is the next state that you are reaching guarantees your output or not, guarantees your goal or not. So among these 3 points that I have discussed, this is the most important aspect of your AA. Because when you start designing AA problems, the first thing we do is we will see whether the problem is decomposable. Many problems has to be decomposable. We go for modularization and you divide the tasks into subtasks. And many tasks, even if you see your Pressman textbook, 68% of the tasks are dependent tasks. So other 30, you can say that it is an independent task. It is a general statement. So independent tasks can be developed parallelly and they can be integrated at some point of time. The first step is over. So then we will see the nature of your artificial intelligence problem. Like, are you playing a game or going to design a system? When you going to design a system, also you need to represent the system in the terms of actions, and these actions will tell whether you can go back to the earlier state or not. But is your universe is predictable means when you perform this action moving from one state to other state, does this new state guarantees your goal or not? That is very important, and we are going to the next point now. So is this solution, good solution, whatever solution that you give is absolute or relative? See, you are getting CGPA, is it absolute value or relative value? Can somebody
Absolute.
unmute it? Absolute or
Absolute
relative?
value.
Absolute. See, when your marks are computed, whether you get 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 9 or 8 out of 10, all this will have the same grade. Do you know that? See, absolute means what are your marks in intermediate? You say 890 or 950 is your marks. 950 is not a grade, is it right? See, what is your grade that you are getting at the end of your first semester or second semester? Is it a grade or is it is it the amount of percentage of marks exactly you are getting?
Grade, sir.
Grade. So, when MSET is concerned, is that rank is relative rank based on which your admissions are given, or is it absolute performance? See, two girls can get the same rank in MSET? Two
No,
or three
sir.
girls?
No,
No.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So then you are clear. Now you can understand. Now see here. So I have asked a question like you are in third year now. So I have the marks of your first year and 2-1. In somebody asked me what marks that some girl like 50 can get. I say she will get exactly 76.8 percentile. That is an absolute value. If I say something like compared to 2-1, she may get a 0.5% or 5% additionally, then it is a relative comparison. Or if I say 50, the roll number 50 will get more than 5% of the average of the class, then I am comparing. When you are comparing, that is some people will be involved, that is called as relative comparison. See, do you know this traveling salesman problem was there? This traveling salesman, the salesman will visit many cities and he has to find out what is the shortest path so that with minimum cost he can travel all the cities. So then the solution you say is a single solution can be obtained well when comparing with other solutions. See, I will ask a query like, what is the shortest path from Bhimbaram to Delhi? Then the solution will be something like this. When you start in the morning, this is the path which is better. When you start at 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, this path is better because Google Maps, it's now specifically it is giving this relative comparison. So when you wish to go from Vijayawada, this is how it is. When you wish to also have this Hyderabad or Secunderabad, this is how it is. When you wish to go from Nagpur, this is how it is. So when you compare something and give that and you give respect to something like where can I stay in Delhi, if I say if it is still this is a better place when compared to other things, then that is a relative comparison that was involved. I see. I ask you at 10 o'clock if it is is there a rain exists at 10 o'clock. If you say definitely there is 100% guarantee that you get in the rain, you say it is absolute value. The absolute value will have 100% probability. A relative is the output that you give after comparing many values, and in general when people relatively give the output, they will give output in the terms of some probabilities. There is a chance when compared to yesterday, today there is a chance of raining. So the first thing I am talking about the output. Output is absolute or relative, but you need to talk about whether the solution that you are getting is a process absolute or relative also. See, there are two things here actually. the outcome of your project is absolute or relative. So absolute, if I say she will get 60.8.9, this is absolute value. So the solution, if I say some girl is in A, some girl is in B, some girl is in C, the output is relative output. Because in A, 10 students can be there, in C, some 8 students can be there, and B, then some 20 students can be there. You're talking something in the terms of relative. This is in the terms of output of your A. But in the processing of A also, when your traveling salesman problem was discussed, you will compute many paths. And finally, you give a path that if he is talking about the cost, we say it is absolute value. When you talk about a path, it is a relative value. Two things you need to think about this problem. Solution, output of your A is a value or a solution. Or while you are getting the output also, you need to compare. See, somebody asks you what is the shortest path from your gate to some C block, then you can have any paths, many paths, and you choose a small path where you say that the cost of getting this path is 80, that 80 is absolute value, but you are giving the solution in the terms of relative terms, like you start at gate and you reach the temple, from temple you reach the auditorium, from auditorium you reach somewhere library, and then you reach C. That is, you are talking in the terms of relative terms. So what is the role of knowledge? This knowledge has many definitions in artificial intelligence. Like knowledge, many times we call it as inferences. You take some facts, apply something, and you get some knowledge that can be inference. Like I went to a doctor and I said I am suffering with cough, and I also said I am also suffering with headache, and the inference the doctor will make is called as that is an inference, but the inference that was made is based on this knowledge that he has. This knowledge is two types of knowledge will be there. Again, you have a static knowledge. With every statement will have a value called as 100% probability, and you have some other statements that will vary with respect to time. Initially, when you take that statement, I take the statement in the terms of 0.5. So when the belief of the statement increases, that 0.5 will increase to 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. When the belief decreases, then this 0.5 will become 0.4 or something like this. Two types of knowledge will be there. You will have static knowledge and dynamic knowledge. That here they have discussed it as a dynamic data. The dynamic data, most of the time we are discussing the same dynamic data will come. The data that will change with respect to time, but without dynamic data, the usability of your AI systems will be very less. The usability or the robustness of your AI systems will be very less, since your AI systems need to accommodate more data in the terms of dynamic nature, because this temporal data has to change with respect to time. The last one is, see how many phases are there in your, when you are developing a software, like when you talk about software process model, how many steps will be there? Did this software engineering was completed?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So when you try to design software, what is the first step that we will do? Collect the So in general, what is that we do is when you
Collection
try
of data.
to yes, collect the requirements, then go for analysis, then you try to design, then you try to implement or code, then you try to maintain. Many steps are there. It depends upon whether you go for waterfall model or incremental model or RAD model or any other model you can take. But the first thing is you take the requirements, analyze the requirements, represent them, modularize, you design. Then once the design is complete, you can implement and so on and so forth. So, when you try to implement this, do you need to have the interaction with people in between, the end user? Does the system needs interaction? Is it right or wrong? Can somebody unmute yourself and answer this? Something. The question is very simple. When you are using any incremental model or any process model, after having the first version, do you interact with the end user, whether his requirements are solved or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
we need to.
sir.
Many problems in AI problems, whether you go for robotics or RPA or even natural language processing or any speech processing or any other processing, you need to interact with the end user. That they say it is a person in the textbook. So the interaction at various levels, that is the reason most of the people try to go for incremental model. You just try to have an increment 1, you discuss with the end user, then you try to develop incremental 2 and 3, 4, so on and so forth. So the same thing, whatever you try to discuss in software engineering, the same practices we do it in software engineering also. The same thing we do it in AI also, but in a different context and different type of intention or understanding. So the interaction, most of the problems needs interaction. If there is a interaction needed, at what level and what type of modularity it needs an interaction. That is also easy way for you to understand. Can we apply classification or see, can somebody unmute yourself and tell me, can you say that tree is a classifier?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because whether you take any tree, you are classifying into left and right. Again, you are classifying data based on whatever requirement it is, whether it is a binary search tree or a heap tree or min heap, whatever tree you are practicing, whether it is split tree or red black tree or a heighted balance tree. What is that you do is you try to classify this, and most of the problems in AI, they will attract this classification. See, I wish to divide my class of 194 students into 2 aspects. Like some girls who are having more than 80% will be in class 1, less than 80% in class 2. That is a classifier. Just a minute, I will disable this. But whatever algorithms that we discuss at a later stage, whether it is a Bayesian classifier or a Bayesian algorithm, most of the time we discuss only about classification, because if somebody has implemented something in machine learning, when there, what is that every day we'll do, when a system has to be developed, there is 2 things that has to happen. First thing has to happen is a training phase, then the second thing is a testing phase. So without this training and testing and without this classification term, most of your AI systems will not exist. So whether you need to have a classifier or whether you can use some regression techniques to get a value, this is what intention is. But the intention of the author keeping this, can we apply classification for most of the problem, is yes. Because most of the problems, whether you go for a decision tree or a random forest or SVM algorithm or any k-means standard algorithm like k-means algorithm or a priori algorithm, all these algorithms will attract this classification. So can we solve most of the problem by using classification? Because classification is the way in which you predict something. So all these problems, most of the problems in AA, they require classification. If classification is not needed, you can have a classification, then go for regression to get some value. So these are the problem characteristics that we have discussed. In all the problem characteristics that we have discussed, class, we need to only think about whether you're discussing things, whether that discussing things is predictable or not. That is like, is the universe is predictable or not? So, this is what the essence of the class is. Can somebody unmute yourself and answer this query, like how the universe is predictable while solving some 8 puzzle problem? Or can somebody tell me what exactly is the universe when you are talking about AI problems? What is this universe is predictable or not?
It means that is there any guarantee that you will reach final state from moving from one state
Yes.
to another?
Yes, what you said is right. Now see if in how many ways this 2 can be moved. Only one way was there, it has to move towards right. If I say this is your current state and this is the goal state, if this 2 moves towards right, is it reaching the goal or not? See, assume that this is a current state and this is the goal state. At this moment, 2 can only move towards right. If this 2 moves towards right and reaches here, does this state will get you this state? Is there any chance that you'll get the this goal state also if you move towards right? Yes, because 2 is here. 2 is here. If I move towards right, there is every chance that you go to the final state. So when 2 is there towards right, 1 can go to the top. So when 1 goes to from this state to this state, there is every chance that you'll get the output. So that is my intention. My intention is whether when you move from one state to other state, is there any guarantee that you get the final state is what your universe is predictable is. So this is very important. And if you have any queries, please unmute yourself and ask any queries, because we have an exam at 10 o'clock now for your seniors. So obviously that is the reason I'm not able to find some time to make your quizzes and all things. See, if you have any doubts, please unmute yourself, or you can just leave this class to join in other class. In between, I will just download your attendance. See, if you have any doubts, please unmute yourself, or I'm just trying to download your attendance. So if you have any doubts, please unmute yourself, or I just leave this, because we have other activities where we need to participate today and tomorrow. And from tomorrow we are free, so the classes will be engaged in full length.